Hello, welcome to another episode of Mega Manga Monday. I am Jason Hahn, and today we are talking about One Piece, chapter 1067, officially titled Punk Records. I am Jason Hahn, writer for Screen Rant, and here at Mega Manga Mondays, we like to talk about new chapters of the mangas we love. And today we're focusing on One Piece's new chapter, which was awesome. We unfortunately have a break next week, so we have a lot to talk about. And I got Ben with me to talk about it today. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, I'm Ben. I'm a writer at Screen Rant. Write about manga, anime, comics in general. And One Piece is my favorite series of all time. So I'm really excited to talk about this chapter today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, last time we talked about One Piece on the podcast, we're loving it, man.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just every chapter is delivering so many
I mean,
things.
just last time,
Oh
this
yeah,
it's been a while since we haven't loved it.
yeah, yeah. It hasn't released a bad chapter in a very long time, and I'm hoping that that trend continues. But yeah, no worries here on chapter 1067. We'll go ahead and dive right in. Like the cover, we got another bit of the emotionless excursion, and I kind of love the. We got two mad scientists meeting together for the first time in a long time, and of course they decide to greet each other with "What's your name again?" But
And
I
you
love
know,
seeing.
it's
Oh, go ahead, man.
yeah, it's especially appropriate given, these chapters and we get to see the other mad scientist of the series. But this really is the cover story that will never die. Every time we think, oh, it's probably over now, it just keeps going. And I'm not complaining about that. I like the cover story. It's just kind of funny. You can never predict how long it's going to go.
Yeah, like even if it stopped here, I wouldn't be surprised, but I kind of want to see like more of the antics between Gastino and Judge. Like I would love it if we just get to see like them picking on each other and like working on new things, but I don't know if it stops here and then they make an appearance later on in the series. Hopefully that's something that we get to see more of. But I think it's almost inevitable that, we absolutely have to see them later in the series. You don't have
Yeah.
like these two genius, I want to say antagonists. They've kind of, they were antagonists at one point, but now their role is kind of a mystery and what they're going to have to do with the rest of the series. But I'm sure it's going to become an issue for our Straw Hat Pirates and probably Sanji at some point. But not sure what side they're going to be building evil things for. So I'm even more excited for to see where the emotionless excursion goes from here. Because even while they were like on Whole Cake, we're kind of like, oh, we think we know. We know certain factions need stuff from Whole Cake. So I'm yeah, I'm loving this these cover stories on this one especially because it's just adding so much extra context with so little information. Uh,
Yeah.
just loving it. Instead of like them focusing a little mini arc on, well, let's go back to Whole Cake Island and see what's going on with Gastino, and it's really helping with the flow. I love it.
Yeah, no. And I feel like I always love the cover stories after a certain point. It just takes a while for them to get going,
Hmm.
and this one is really going. So, uh, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm really enjoying it.
it almost seems like the first few volumes of the cover stories are always just like, okay, where are we going? Where are we going? And then suddenly, when enough pieces come in, you're just like, okay, all for it. Keep going, keep going.
Yeah,
And this one's volume 24 of the Emotionless Excursion. So I mean, this one's been going on for a little while. I'm not sure
yeah, it's
how.
longer than some Shonen Jump manga get. Uh,
Yeah, 24 panels are probably longer than some other.
well, I meant 24 volumes, but yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, 24 volumes would be a lot of manga.
Yeah. Well, 24 chapters.
Yeah,
Uh, 24 chapters is more than Shonen Jump gives a lot of its newer series nowadays.
true. They gotta earn it. But I
Yeah.
enjoyed seeing Sanji's siblings in the back, just like, oh, brother. Like, just, I mean, they knew that this was probably going to be the situation, but I don't know. It was kind of cool seeing Caesar, like, in full, like, intimidation mode too, because I don't feel like we've seen Caesar looking like that since his battle against Luffy. Because ever since he got beaten by Luffy, he's just consistently been like the, oh man, poor me, I can't do anything against anybody. So yeah, I loved it. But that's not even this chapter. That's just the appetizer to this chapter.
Yeah, the prelude.
The prelude. And diving into it, the main thing that we start right off with more information about Vegapunk, and some of our theories were confirmed. It seems like all of his, I guess the official translation wants to call it like his clone offshoots. All represent like a certain aspect of his own personality, and he even says like, if you combine all of them, then you get a good idea of my personality. But each one focuses on their own strengths, so he's able to get 6 times as much work done as possible, or as the normal person. However, I was quite surprised to hear that he, isn't just the smartest dude with a weird design. He actually ate the brain fruit, which allows his brain to grow in accordance to how much information he has absorbed. And the thing that kind of threw me off about it was he says it continues to grow, yet we don't really have any of his other like offshoot clones with a head that seems to be like abnormally large. So
Well, he said that it's in Punk Records, right? It's not like in one of the clones. Clones all connect to the brain in Punk Records, but they don't have the brain inside them.
Yes, so that must mean his brain must be somewhere in Punk Records, and we have yet to see it. But
yeah, well, I think it's implied that like it's so big that it's filling up the whole top of Punk Records. Like, it's just grown to such a degree that it will keep growing, presumably. So.
Which kind of, maybe jumping ahead to the sort of the end of the chapter, which it kind of makes it all that much more surprising that Vegapunk is asking the Straw Hats to get him off the island. I mean, I'm sure that he's the smartest dude in the whole world, so I'm sure he has some sort of long distance booster, but after him telling us all that and making us, or making sense of how Punk Records works, and essentially it's the internet, it feels like. The way I was reading, I was just like, oh, it's just like the internet in the Straw Hat world. Everybody who connects to it is able to enjoy the plethora of, information, which I thought was pretty cool. But as soon as he like explained it all, he's just like, get me out of here. I was like, whoa, okay. I mean, I kind of suspected that, he might want to escape the Navy, but I feel like this was the chapter where he went full, like, I'm doing away with the Navy. I want to go with the Straw Hats here for safety. But who knows if he's trustworthy still at this point. He could be trying to set them up for a trap or something like that. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Well, I honestly didn't even interpret it like it's a safety thing. I interpreted it like this is the Vegapunk who's sort of left behind after making his clones. Like, he doesn't include himself in the tally. He's like, I can get the work done 6 times faster, not 7 times faster. Even though he'd be like the 7th Vegapunk figure running around here. So I feel like, Luffy asked if he's dumb, and Vegapunk's like, no, I'm not dumb. But I think maybe he is suffering from some lack of cognitive ability, maybe. Or he wants to be free of that, maybe. So I think he has other motivations for getting off the island. And maybe he just wants to leave the work now to his 6 Vegapunk clones and live out his life doing something else. So,
like retiring.
Unclear, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It kind of it's not disproving. It's kind of almost throwing more ammo onto my theory that one of the Vegapunks might not be what they seem.
Oh yeah, I definitely could see that, but I think that this Vegapunk doesn't really know about those schemes or cares. I think he just wants to leave.
Well, yeah, especially because in this chapter we kind of got a little peek at the other Straw Hats are able to see like Luffy and Jinbei and everything that's going on through some sort of cameras and stuff. But the original Vegapunk isn't, seeing Shaka and the other Straw Hats. So my money's on Shaka is not actually a Vegapunk. He might be nefarious for one reason or another. And I think if the original Vegapunk saw him, he'd be like, "Wait, who's that?" or something along those lines. But it's still kind of unclear why this original Vegapunk was like stuck in the armor or something like that too. So just a theory.
I don't. Yeah, I think Shaka the Good is actually Shaka Good, but whether that means that they're lawful good and will follow the world government's laws, that's one thing. I don't think they will because they're telling the Straw Hats like all this forbidden knowledge, like legally forbidden knowledge.
Yeah,
So I don't
fatally
necessarily
forbidden.
think. Yeah, I think Shaka's fine, but there could be a whole heel turn. Never trust a masked man. And,
Yeah.
But I mean, like they're the one refusing entry to the world government, so I think
True.
it's not too likely that they'd betray them to the government. I think Lilith is a more likely candidate.
I was gonna say that might be the almost too obvious one, but then again, I mean, it's Oda kind
Makes
of putting it
sense.
in our face, like,
And she's like literally said like, "Oh, should we sell the straw hats to the government because they might want them?" So I think that's if there is going to be a traitor among the Vegapunks to the straw hats, it's probably gonna be Lilith.
yeah,
But who knows? Oda is a master of subverting expectations,
yeah,
and so really you can never see all the twists and turns coming in a given One Piece arc.
yeah. We can just theorize about him on a podcast, I guess. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, kind of sticking on the Vegapunk thing a little bit. Him bringing up like obviously explaining punk records and talking about like an idyllic sort of situation where everybody in the world would be able to use that network or get into it. And again, just kind of making it seem more and more like the World Wide Web. But I love how Jinbei just says so much with so little by like, well, what about everyone's conflicting ideologies? Wouldn't that kind of put a damper on things? And I'm like, oh man, Oda, this is some. You're describing the how fun it is to be on the internet so well with so little there. I really enjoyed the parallels that they were drawing there. But I almost wonder again, not sure if we can trust Vegapunk, if there's any like nefarious sort of reasons that he wants everybody to be able to hook up to the punk records. I would
Could be like Uda from One Piece film Red.
yeah.
A little bit. I won't get into her whole motivation for fear of spoilers for people who haven't seen that movie.
Right. Thank
But
you.
yeah, well, it's a good movie, so check it out if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, actually, we did a whole podcast talking about it. So if you did see that movie, definitely check out Mega Manga Mondays chat on One Piece Film Red. We had a lot of fun talking about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of giving me those vibes too. But I mean, everything we know about Vegapunk, he's just he's got an endless thirst for knowledge, and it makes more sense that he legitimately wants to share that with everybody. But who knows if all of his personalities will want that too. But I think we'll find out. But I love that the apple core on top of his head is just a big antenna. And I'm afraid what would happen if it got damaged. It's also kind of revealed that all the other Vegapunks are supposed to sync up at a certain time every day, so then they're all consistently learning from each other's experiences and stuff like that. And really, again, just kind of setting up more stuff that I think would make an excellent like reveal for later on one of the Vegapunks being a thorn in the side of our heroes. But we'll see how it all
I
shakes
think
out.
I think they'll probably all be a thorn in the side of our heroes because I think they're going to do something that will morally set them apart from the Straw Hats, and the Straw Hats will get annoyed and try and fight them. So I'm predicting that there will be sort of multiple fronts in this arc where they're going to be fighting the government and also fighting Vegapunks. and all that stuff. But who knows? You know, we've been saying as this arc has been going on throughout all our previous chapter discussions that we really don't know who the main antagonists of this arc are going to be, or who all the people fighting will be. We can just sort of predict as the pieces get put into place where the chips will fall. So, you know, I trust Oda to make this a compelling arc. It's been very compelling so far, even though we haven't reached the main conflict.
Yeah, I agree. I almost, I kind of would love it if, to use your term, if Oda subverted expectations and CP0 just gets blasted out of the water, and then they're like, "Oh, okay, well that wasn't a big deal. Oh, by the way, we're going to harvest you guys for data." Like, "Oh, okay, I guess we're fighting the Vegapunks now." Like, but I think that might anger some fans. I think there's a lot of people pretty anxious for a to see Lucci back into battle. But we'll see. I don't know. I kind of feel like it's retreading, so I almost feel like it might be a bit of a red herring. Because I mean, we've already seen Luffy and Lucci like go 100% all out, and their conflict is, for me, like one of my favorite parts of the entire series. So I almost feel like if we got into some other like epic punch battle between them, it would just kind of diminish that. But as we've said, Oda's a master at surprising us. So I'm really curious to see what he has in store with CP0 here, because I love that they don't know that the Straw Hats are here. All they pretty much know is Bonnie might be here and that they need to try to kill Vegapunk. So I don't know, maybe they'll like cause damage to Punk Records and it will corrupt the Vegapunks and everything that's like connected to it, maybe. I don't know, I'm just throwing out interesting theories of things that I would like to see, I guess.
Yeah, and the great thing about One Piece is that no matter how many interesting theories you come up with, Oda's version is always going to be like, wow, you know, that I had all these ideas in mind for where this could go, but that was pretty great.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's something that other series are famous for not quite doing. Where fans hype themselves up on a certain theory and then that doesn't happen and they're very disappointed. I think that's never happened with One Piece. Maybe with Wano.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But like,
I don't know about never.
Wano, I think, was satisfying on its own, and I think most people do think it's satisfying.
Yeah.
There's just a very small minority who disagree or who think that it should have gone a different way, is how I'll put it. There are plenty of people disappointed with the end of Wano, but not really for the reason of like, oh, I wanted this to happen instead.
Yeah, because it was one of those things where we had all of our expectations on how it was going to go down, and then when some of those didn't, happen, say like Yamato joining the Straw Hats, and getting a little bit more backstory from Kaido, it's like still like cool stuff happened. Like they still had a interesting conclusion to their stories. It just wasn't exactly what people thought was going to happen. But it wasn't so much like, oh, well, that makes zero sense why they did that. It wasn't like a Game of Thrones situation, which I consistently bring up in these podcasts. I need to come up with a different show that has terrible plot twists near the end of it. But interesting plot twist in this chapter too. I liked that Bonnie was about to kill Vegapunk, and it's revealed that that sword attracts bugs for some reason. And one of my favorite bits in this chapter was she's passed out, and Luffy just walks up with a stag beetle and like puts it pretty much right in her face, and just like, "Hey, check this out!" And of course, Chopper's just like, "Forget about the stag beetle." And people online have quick to reference that Luffy has a borderline obsession with stag beetles. He loves beetles.
Yeah. Well, he's supposed to be like the carefree sort of Japanese young boy, and in Japan there's a whole thing where apparently young boys like finding stag beetles and making them like fight or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's a thing that pops up in a lot of Japanese media where it's like, gotta find the stag beetles.
And have them fight.
Yeah, or whoever has the biggest stag beetle is the coolest kid. Um,
Oh
so
man, I never found a stag beetle when I was growing up. Maybe that's why I wasn't cool as a
that's
kid.
probably it. Yeah. Uh,
That might be. We've traced it. We found
yeah.
it.
Um, but yeah, it's an interesting thing, and so it makes sense that Luffy is also sort of obsessed with stag beetles. It's a very fun aspect of his character, but
Yeah, who knows? Maybe he'll like that'll be his ultimate form as he shapes Gear Fifth into like some sort of stag beetle attack or
I
something
could
like that.
see it. I could see it. You know,
But another thing, speaking of seeing it and calling things, this is probably something I called one of the first One Piece podcasts we've had. But the whole idea, and it was 100% confirmed here, and I was quite happy and cheered after I read it. So I was like, oh, I knew it. Why was Momo's Devil Fruit considered a failure?
because it was pink. The dragon was pink. It's not an exact replica of Kaido.
Yeah,
So
it's not
I was
perfect.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I thought was hilarious. Like you're able to create this man-made clone or of a devil fruit, one of the most powerful devil fruits in the entire world, and because it was a different color, it was considered a failure. So I'm almost wondering like if he has any other super devil fruits. It's just kind of solidifying that it's possible to like have multiple users of a certain thing, possibly even more in the future.
Well, I think yeah, only in the man-made sort of things.
Hmm.
So not in it doesn't mean anything about like natural devil fruit users because there can only be one of the natural devil fruit at a time that we know of.
Right.
That then reappears once the user's dead. So, but if it's man-made, which, as you said, who knows how many of those Vegapunk has lying around?
Hmm.
Uh, there, there could be armies of people with certain devil fruits. So,
Yeah, imagine like a Logia army going against, anybody that can't use hockey. It would just be unstoppable.
yeah, that would be nuts.
Well, and I almost wonder if like he's used all of this research to, create the seraphims. Um, but I think a lot of people, and we might still get it, because I think to be able to create like a clone of the devil fruit, he has to have a lot of knowledge of how the devil fruits work. And I think that's one thing a lot of people were hoping that meeting Vegapunk would eventually reveal is more information on like the origins of the devil fruits, which we haven't really gotten that, especially in this chapter. But what we did get was a little bit more insight into the Iron Giant and some very, very interesting context around it, actually. Apparently, it tried to attack Mary Joie like 200 years ago. It was built in the Void Century over 900 years ago.
Mm.
Just really, really interesting stuff that I think this is, it's gonna have some big part to play in the future.
Well, also the most interesting part of it is that it happened right when fishman discrimination became a big issue. So that, was it the fishmen who did something with it, or is it related to um, Triton, the weapon that sort of Horikoshi is? Uh,
Poseidon.
and
No, it's not
so the
Poseidon.
oh that's or
Yeah, it is
no, I thought
Poseidon.
it was Triton. Was it Poseidon? I
Because
could
we
be wrong.
got
I could be misremembering.
well, because I know Triton is the name of her dad,
Oh yeah, you're right. So
but then again, I
uh,
think Poseidon is the weapon in Wano,
that's
isn't it?
no wait, Neptune's the name of her
There we go.
dad.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Um, I don't know. Well, whatever ancient weapon they have, uh,
I think you're. I think
it
it's Neptune because yeah, I think Poseidon's in Wano. I think that's right.
Neptune's the name of her father.
Ah, crap.
It's the Neptune family. He's King Neptune.
Oh, okay. At
Uh,
first, I thought it was Triton. I'm confusing Little Mermaid. I think.
no. Oh yeah, the weapon is Poseidon. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But the father is Neptune. So, yeah, Poseidon. It could be related to that.
And I think it's
Even though,
Pluton is in Wano.
yeah, Pluton's in Wano. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But, yeah. But we know or not we know, but we have the hunch that Poseidon has the ability to control the sea beasts.
Hmm.
But maybe it can also control these sort of robots. Who can say? We'll
Oh,
just have to wait and
possibly.
find out.
I mean, I kind of that's a good point. You've actually kind of I mean, when we first started this chapter, we got a bunch of pretty much sea kings and cybernetic sea kings. So Vegapunk has already kind of experimented clearly with uh, modifying giant sea beasts. So I wonder, yeah, if like the sea kings that Shirioshi is supposed to be able to control with her abilities, I think it'd be pretty cool if those some of the biggest creatures in the entire world had armor built for them like this. That would be awesome,
Mm.
and that would just be another reason why the world government is so afraid of that ability too, or that are willing to call it a oh crap, what's the just do I forget the overall name of like all the huge weapons like Poseidon, Neptune, and what's the world government call those?
The ancient weapons.
Ancient
Just
weapons. All right,
yeah.
thank you. So much so that they're pretty much calling that ability like an ancient weapon. I think it'd be yeah pretty awesome if they're calling it that just because they if they can control them and they have armor built for them, it would be a
Uh,
terrifying
I
force, obviously.
I think that I mean I think that the ancient weapon is sort of something beyond that too, because
Hmm.
there's so much we don't know about it, right?
Right.
Like it's somehow in Shirahoshi, but it also was around 200 years ago. Uh, it just like unlike with Pluton, which is in Wano, it seems to be tied to like a family line of some sort, which is very strange. So there might be more here than that we don't know about. So it might not just be related to sea beasts or something.
Oh, true.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. We'll just have to find out in the future, and we likely will. Probably not this arc, maybe this arc because we're getting revelation after revelation. So who
Hmm.
knows? But we'll probably find out in the relatively near future, given how quickly this series is going through all these lore reveals. So
Right. And it's amazing too, because I mean, it's just like it's pushing this current story arc like ahead all at the same time, and
yeah.
it's not like other series where it's just text dump, and you're just like, oh, okay, well that was interesting. Now let's get back to the story, or something like that. Um,
Yeah, Oda is a master craftsman.
yeah, loving it, all for our benefit. Love it. If Oda, if you're listening, doing a good job, man. Doing a great job.
Mm.
But speaking of not doing a great job, I would think CP0 would be better at disguises. I
Oh, but
mean,
that's their shtick, right? It's not really like they're disguising themselves too much. It's like a status symbol almost.
oh yeah, because CP0 kind of does that, don't they?
Yeah,
They did it
and
on
like
Wano.
the top agents of it just wear masks. So it does kind of hide their identity, but not really. But it's
Right.
like I mean, they're talking about Lucci with his name Lucci, right? So
Yeah,
it's not meant
yeah.
to hide him. It's just meant to be sort of like an intimidating sort of thing. Like, why else would this pigeon wear a mask, right?
It's such a cute little mask. Um,
Yeah.
I would love it if I wonder if we'll get to see the pigeon fight finally. I wonder if it will transform into some sort of bigger evil pigeon or something like that.
Oh, it's the final boss.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's Eam Sama.
yeah. It's keeping an eye on them
Yeah.
while while they're on the mission.
I think one of my favorite CP0 masks is Kaku's fake beard. It's just the. I almost wish that it was a giant mischievous mustache almost, but it's the
Mm,
same kind of mood, I guess is the best way to say it. But it just looks so like tagged on. I just love that.
yeah. I mean, I like the beard more than a mustache because, I'm not sure how the mustache would react with his huge nose. So,
Hmm.
uh, yeah.
And I almost wonder if they monster size if his beard will stay on it and grow as well. Because I mean, Oda loves to do that, especially when Queen transformed. It's just like, yeah, all of his clothes and stuff transformed too, and just yeah, it's just how it works.
Yeah. Maybe maybe he'll operate like Queen, where the beard stabilizes and shoots Kaku out.
Yeah. Or it shoots smaller giraffes. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a couple more notes here. But just kind of going back to we kind of talked about it a little bit. But what would you what do we think Vegapunk's like reason for wanting to get off Egghead is? I mean, obviously he knows that that the world government might be after him at this point, but it was kind of revealed in that flashback. I think it was the last chapter we had, where the reason that he was working with the world government was to take advantage of their funding, so that he could keep on doing what he wanted to do. But him wanting to get off Egghead and apparently run away from the world government possibly means that he has achieved, some big goal he has. But also,
Uh,
it was revealed last chapter too that the plethora of world knowledge that O'Hara had is all in Shaka's brain, or all in Punk Records, possibly.
yeah, you read all the books in the library. I mean, as I said before, I think it's just something unique to this old man Egghead, and I think that now that he has 6 clones that can carry on his work for him, he can do something like maybe retire or
Hmm.
just escape, like drop off the map and do whatever he wants at this point, without oversight. So I think maybe it's something like that, but I don't necessarily think it's like protect me from the world government. I think it's more just like, um, you know, get me off this island away from my clones.
Yeah, I guess it's just kind of more of a mystery on we don't know enough about Vegapunk and his overall mission at this point.
Yeah.
Because I think it was kind of toyed with the conversation that he had with Dragon, that he's not an evil guy who wants to destroy the world with his scientific genius, but sounds like he actively almost wants to make the world smarter.
Hmm.
And
And
we'll see if it becomes an Uda situation or not without ruining too much about that movie. But
yeah, and it makes me even more intrigued about Kuma's backstory
hmm
because clearly Vegapunk feels guilty about that, and he doesn't seem to be that bad of a guy. So what exactly went on with Kuma? Why did he turn him into the cyborg and the pacifistas that he did? And we do get a bit more Kuma at the end of this chapter, and it's just very intriguing. I mean, I've said for a while that my most anticipated backstory reveal at this point is Kuma's, just because there's so much mystery surrounding him, and he's just such a cool character. So I'm incredibly excited to see what comes next, as I think we are close to getting his backstory. Although knowing Oda, it will be at the next sort of at the end of the next 3 chapters when it's going on break again. That's when it'll be like, I guess I should talk about Kuma's backstory, and it'll be like,
yeah, cliffhanger.
wait 2 weeks.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the panels of Kuma in this chapter, like seeing all the stuff like hanging out of his chest and him just like running while it's all dragging him and stuff. And I really think that this might be the thing that brings the Straw Hats and the Revolutionaries together. I don't think that Kuma, with all of his open wounds and stuff as a robot, will do very well in the water, but hopefully he's able
But he
to.
also he also has a fruit, so that won't be good for him to go in the water anyways.
Oh yeah, that's true. So I mean,
Like the
hopefully he's
pawpaw fruit.
able to communicate with them at least where he's trying to go, because it seems, I mean, we don't know for sure, but I would expect that he's rushing towards Bonnie,
Mm.
or Vegapunk. Maybe Bonnie like almost or threatening Vegapunk's life, maybe that triggered something in Kuma where he's rushing to Vegapunk's aid. But I don't know. Either way, I think it seems that he's going to be rushing towards our current conflict, and that would be the perfect way to bring these two factions together, and hopefully, finally, get a conversation between Dragon and Luffy.
Yeah. Well, I don't even really care that much about the conversation between Dragon and Luffy because I think Luffy's just gonna be like, "Oh, hey, pops," or something like that, and not really get into that. But I'm just excited to see all the other interactions and just learn more about Dragon's motivation and backstory and all that because Dragon is one of the most mysterious characters in the series. He's been here since chapter 100, and since that point, very little has been revealed. It's like tantalizing bits and pieces here and there. So I'm very excited to learn a bit more about him.
Absolutely, and I completely agree. And that's kind of why I'm hoping that this is all leading to just more time with revolutionaries, and that's definitely the tease at the very end of the chapter. There, I feel like Ivankov saying like this is where the revolution really begins, and like oh boy, they're gearing up for something. But yeah, very excited about it. Unfortunately, as Ben said, we are on break next week, so we're gonna have to wait a little extra while to see what happens next. But Oda's a good lad; he deserves the break. So we should wait and speculate and get excited for the next one. But yeah, I guess one more note I've got here about this chapter. Shaka. Well, I guess I kind of brought it up already. Shaka refusing entry to the world government. Him saying pretty much like, "Leave the Seraphim and leave." That's kind of the big moment there. Like, Vegapunk's been working for them for decades, and he actively is telling them no. There, it's just things are gearing up for major conflict about to start up, and we'll see where the Vegapunks side up with. Because I'd be very curious to see if they like all. We haven't really gotten we've gotten them communicating with each other and working as a team and stuff, but I'm not 100% sure if they're going to continue to do that or if we have some offshoots there who are wanting to break free of this. But yeah, as you said, Lilith seems like the obvious one. But I'm willing to bet on the masked figure of the group. But we'll definitely see. I'm excited. But any more thoughts on the chapter, man? Before we go into plugs and recommendations.
One more moment I want to bring up is just seeing the Straw Hats react to Lucci, like right after it's mentioned that Lucci's here. And it's just so fun to see all the different reactions. Like Usopp being like, I need to escape, damn it. And then Nami's like, oh, I hate that guy. And then Sanji being like, I'll protect you, Robin, because Lucci was a big piece of the Enies Lobby arc and abducting Robin and all that stuff. So it's just great to see all their reactions. I'm sad Frankie didn't really get a reaction to that, but the others' reactions more than made up for it.
Yeah, and I honestly I'm disappointed we didn't get a Frankie reaction, and I'm honestly pretty disappointed in our Robin reaction. Just the exclamation marks, like, because
I feel that fits Robin. Robin is generally soft spoken, and I think she's fine. It's not like she's gonna be like, oh no, Lucci's back, or like something like that. I think it makes sense that she just take it with sort of like stunned silence.
I completely agree that Robin is fine. But I feel like Frankie and Robin, had like huge moments during Enies Lobby. That was like kind of their characters' turning points. So I'm probably the most interested to hear like what they think of Lucci and CP, formerly CP9, at this point in their journey, because they're both very different people now at this point, and I would be that's actually one battle I'd be really, really excited to see is Sanji versus Lucci. because especially they're both powers. Is it Powers of the Nine? Is that the fighting style?
Oh yeah,
I forget
the
what it's
sort
called.
of special cipher pull fighting style.
Yeah.
It Yeah. Well, it would be interesting because Lucci can then use his Devil Fruit ability as well to buff himself up a bit.
Hmm.
It'll be interesting to see how Sanji would deal with that.
But I don't.
But
I'm actually really clueless into like how does Usopp know who they are? He wasn't there.
I know he wasn't there. I mean, he was there at Water 7,
Yeah.
so he probably heard. But yeah, no, that was the arc where they sort of sidelined Usopp for a lot of it. Like they brought on this like one-off character, Sogeking, who was great, but
Yeah.
I wish Oda would do more with him.
Yeah. Soga King was like an awesome sniper, and he was reliable and great. Yeah. It was. I hope that he comes back. That'd be great. Um,
Yeah.
oh
For a
man,
series that
actually,
keeps on reusing its characters, I mean, it's a crime that Sogeking has not reappeared.
yeah, and I almost hope maybe we'll see him come back in this arc. Maybe he'll
Yeah,
come
I
in for the
mean,
save.
CP0 is back, so I could definitely see Sogeking showing up to rescue like Usopp or maybe Nami. Uh, I think it would be great.
Oh man, I just imagine if Oda did bring that back. That would be so cool. I think people would
I actually
love
think it
that.
would be bad if Oda brought Sogeking back on like a more serious note because it would undo a lot of Usopp's development.
Yeah,
But
good point.
to keep the bid up, it would be funny.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't know. I could see him like them trying to like distract CP0 from something, and Usopp's just like, okay, well they don't know who I am, but they might recognize this mask, so this might do a better job of distracting them or something like that.
mm.
I don't know. I could see it working, but yeah, that's a great point too. It might detract from some of Usopp's character development, but
I could see maybe it happening kind of like that, and maybe Sogeking gets unmasked and it's revealed to be Usopp in this arc, and they're like, "Oh,
what?
we've got to update the bounty." Uh,
Yeah. He was so he's got Usopp with Soga King this whole time, and the whole world just explodes. And what?
yeah.
He's even more legendary now. Oh man, I hope so. That feels very Oda. I'm gonna go ahead and put that in the same hope that I had Vegapunk being mad that the devil fruit was a failure because it was a different color. So we'll see. Put that in the bank. but but yeah, man, I think that'll about wrap up our One Piece discussion on chapter 1067. I guess we'll go ahead and move into plugs and recommendations. I really hope you enjoyed our chat on Mega Manga Monday. We have a website where you can listen to all of our podcasts. megamangamonday.podbean.com. We talk about other series as well and have podcasts where we talk about new chapters and episodes of Chainsaw Man, My Hero Academia, maybe even Boruto. And we even have some Jujutsu Kaisen chats as well. So hope you'll check those out. You can listen to us on Spotify, wherever you're listening to this, Podbean itself, YouTube. If you're listening on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. And we'd love to hear from you too on what your favorite bits of the chapters are. If there's anything that you feel like we forgot to talk about, we'd love to hear from you. So please reach out. You can also follow us on Twitter at mmangamondays. And we're also on Hive, which is a new social media that a lot of people seem to be ditching Twitter for. But yeah, you can find us on, just type in Mega Manga Monday and it'll probably pop up there. But one other plug from me too, writer for Screen Rant, so love it if you checked out our works on Screen Rant. I write in the video game section and I'm starting to do reviews and stuff like that. A lot of my guests write in the comics and anime section, so definitely check that out as well. But I do a YouTube series called Honzy and Friends. I do comedic Let's Play videos. I used to do some streaming, but now I'm starting to kind of go back to doing shorter Let's Play videos that me and some very funny friends play together. We had a new episode of Metal Gear Solid 2 come out a couple days ago, and we're going to be playing some Dragon Ball Z Tenkaichi very soon. A special modded version that has Dragon Ball Super and all kinds of stuff on it. So look forward to that, and please subscribe to Honzy and Friends on YouTube as well. But Ben, what you got today?
Yeah, in terms of recommendations, there was a new Shonen Jump series that premiered this week called Cypher Academy, which I think was pretty fun. So check it out if you like following the newer series in Jump. I think this one's got maybe some potential. Although I could also very much see it getting axed in 19 chapters. But we'll have to wait and see, like with all of Jump's new series. And in terms of plugs, I have a YouTube channel of my own called YGO From Zero, where I go over historical formats of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. So if that's something that appeals to you, be sure to check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be having links to our side projects and our Screen Rant articles as well in the description. So please check that out. We work pretty hard on all that other stuff as well. So would really, really appreciate if you checked all that out and let us know what you think. But yeah, again, Ben, thanks for your time today. Had a great time talking One Piece with you. And looking forward to the next one, man.
Yeah, same. See y'all next time.
Peace.